What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Crunch Time here on RotoGrinders, getting you ready for a Sunday MLB slate, the last slate before the All-Star break. So by all means, go crazy. Put in a few extra lineups. Play responsibly, though. Just kidding. But the last chance that we have to make some DFS money with a regular slate over the next few days. Some might be betting the home run derby. Some might have some showdown lineups for the All-Star game. We'll still have some sweats, but no full slates until Thursday here with the All-Star break coming up. So we'll try to make today count. I am Justin Van Zuden, a.k.a. STL Cardinals 84. Moving on to baseball after a failed $1 million golf sweat. Had actually a couple lineups in the Golf Millie Maker inside the top 10 just a couple of hours ago, about halfway through the final day. So that's, really gets the blood pumping a little bit. And then it's kind of gone south since then. So no $1 million in golf for me. Still be around grinding these baseball slates and try to move on from the golf here. Keith Eister alongside also had a failed MMA sweat last night with a little bit even more brutal of a beat, it sounds like. So Keith is moving on to baseball as well, and we'll try to make today a better day. Keith, how you doing?
Yeah, as well as I can be. My pockets feel a little bit lighter than they should. I had the top Brian Ortega lineup in the big DraftKings tournament last night. Heading into the main event, fight starts off great. Ortega pins him up against the cage for a minute or so and secures a takedown. It's going exactly how I hope it's going to go. But on his way down on the takedown, he apparently dislocates his shoulder or something, loses by TKO. So I lose the 100K because of an injury. Just absolutely brutal. One of the worst I've experienced. But we move on. We've got some baseball to try to win some money here today. So.
Yeah, the one I can remember that was the worst for me was I think it was a 100K baseball win that was secure with the last game of the night was like 6-3 in the ninth inning, and then the team that was trailing scored 3 runs to send it into extra innings, and then I ended up getting passed in extras. That's the one that's kind of stuck with me over the years, but. It's easier to remember the bad breaks, I guess, than the good ones. Surely have had some positive breaks over the years, but never fun to get over those failed sweats. But we keep coming back because that's part of the beauty of the game as well. As Devin, our producer, was saying before the show, somebody inherently benefited from that injury and ended up winning. So they're having a better Sunday than
Definitely.
Keith, but it evens out in the long run, right? That's what they say. So
that's what
might take us 50 years to get there, but
yeah.
We've got Andre Alford alongside as well. Andre, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I haven't had that sweat like that in a while for fantasy. Hopefully we get one a little bit today, as I got like a couple lines going in for baseball. I've had a lot of sweats though when it comes to the sports betting streets last week. I know how you feel with the pain. Was close to winning $1 million off of a parlay. Just failed with a couple guys falling short of a couple total bases and a couple strikeouts. So I know the feeling all too well. But back today, ready to get today going and hopefully get a W.
All right, we've got interesting slate on tap today for the last one before the All-Star break. Of course, Crunch Time here, brought to you by Fanduel. Thanks to them for sponsoring the show. If you're in a legal sports betting state, you can check out Fanduel Sportsbook. Get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 and get that back after your first-time bet if the bet does not win. Terms and conditions apply, but check out Fanduel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. But with this being the last slate before the All-Star break, we've got a lot of teams that have lined up their best pitchers today. If you are kind of just tuning in to the baseball scene for the day, the Detroit-Cleveland game has been postponed due to weather. So Shane Bieber was supposed to pitch for Cleveland. He will now obviously not be pitching, so make sure you do not have any Detroit or Cleveland players in your lineups. And we have just removed those projections within Lineup HQ if you refresh your page now. So that still leaves us with several strong pitchers on the top end today. We've got Cease, we've got Cole, we've got Nola, we've got Strider. We've got maybe Chris Sale if you want to put him in that mix, though he has to face the Yankees today. So a pretty good top end pitching out there today. Keith, what are you looking at on the mound?
Yeah, these top aces are really it for me today. There's so much upside among those top top four. Losing Bieber, I mean, it's going to spread the ownership a little bit, but we still have plenty of options. I still don't think I need to differentiate any more than those four. I will say Chris Sale on DraftKings is in play because of the price tag for me. Looked pretty good in his first start, 78 pitches, but that's definitely more of a tournament play. Cash games, I think you're looking at one of the other four guys. For me, it's Garrett Cole as the top option. When we're talking about pitchers of this caliber, I don't pay much attention to the matchup. You could say he has the most difficult matchup here of the top four, but he's an elite pitcher. Boston should be without Trevor Story again, which weakens their lineup a little bit. Cole can go out and get double-digit strikeouts against anybody. He pitched really well against Boston 2 starts ago, outside of Rafael Devers touching him up for 2 home runs. But, yeah, super long leash for Cole. The price tag is fine. He's affordable. And I think that there's enough value on the slate, too, where you can pay up for a second one over on DK for cash games. And even for tournaments, that's my strategy today. I'm solely focused on these top 4 arms with a slight mix of Chris Sale in there as well. But it's Cease, Cole, Nola, Strider. All of them have just elite upside. Strider is my second favorite option. You save a little bit of money going down to him. This dude over his past 7 starts, his strikeout rate is over 40%, and he's brought the walks all the way down under 7%. So, like, those are just absolutely ace-level elite numbers. Faced this Washington team over a month ago and struck out 11 then. So don't you get worried about Washington and their low strikeout rates, anything like that. When we're dealing with these level of pitchers, matchups almost don't matter for me. I trust the stuff of the aces.
Yeah, and if that ownership is anywhere close to accurate, 7% on FanDuel for Strider, I really like him. Like you mentioned, just able to overcome that low strikeout rate for Washington just with his talent. And, Strider has just been striking everybody out. So he will be a little higher owned on DraftKings where you need 2 pitchers, but definitely part of that top-end group of arms today. Andre, what are you doing with these top pitchers?
It was very, very, very tough for me to pick who I like today at the top, honestly. But the guy I went with was Aaron Nola, just because he's going against Miami. I think obviously a little bit better matchup than the guy like Garrett Cole, and the guy in Strider. But I love Strider for GPPs and Cole for GPPs as well. But Aaron Nola gets a matchup against Miami. Miami's obviously not rolling out their best lineup, but the couple guys still hurt and not back, and their strikeout rate is around 22%. And I mean, I think he could get through that lineup. I think he could have a pretty good game here today, a good strikeout match, game 2 as well. And be around the same price. I mean, and being that they're around the same price as Cole and Strider are separated by like literally $200 on a site like FanDuel, which is what I'm playing at today. If he literally gets within like 5 to 10 points and that $200 makes a difference in me getting a batter in my lineup, I'm going to take that opportunity. So that's the way I'm approaching it today. So Nola is my number 1 going against Miami, followed by Strider and Cole as like 1B, I guess, or 1C, however else I would rank them. But definitely those guys for sure today.
Yeah, and there's just not a lot in terms of cheap pitchers with upside today. You've got Steven Matz is making his first start back from the injured list. Jake Odorizzi is facing Oakland, but has one of the lowest strikeout rates of any starter in the league. Sometimes you get a few Ks with Kluber, but he generally doesn't go, past 6 innings. Basically, David Peterson's probably the only other guy that gives you some hint of upside with favorable weather in Chicago. And they could use some innings out of him after a doubleheader yesterday, and both of the doubleheader games went into extra innings. So the Mets could give Peterson a longer leash this afternoon, and you don't have to do it on FanDuel. I mean, he's 9,500 on FanDuel, so if you're there, just go get one of the aces. But he is 7,800 on DraftKings. I think there's potentially some merit in using him as an SP2 on DK if you need it. Keith, any other comments for pitching? Otherwise, you can talk about your favorite stacks.
Yeah, no, I don't think that you need to go down any lower. Peterson on DraftKings, I agree with that call. There's some strikeout upside. If he gets a couple extra pitches, definitely good. I'm not messing with Kluber when I've got 4 studs up top and a Chris Sale whose pitch count should be coming up a little bit. I'm pretty much sticking with the elite guys today. So moving on to some bats. I think Atlanta is in a fantastic spot today, along with Houston. Those would be my top tier. Atlanta against kind of a bullpen game for Washington. Really like that spot for them. They continue to just hit the heck out of the ball. Very talented offense. It's tough to pay up for the full stack for Atlanta today because I want the elite pitching. And I am prioritizing pitching over any bats. So I might end up with more 3-man stacks of Atlanta and then fill in the rest of my lineup with like value bats. Houston, I think, sets up a little bit better as a full stack for me just because they do have some of the value bats within the lineup. Tucker is obviously the top option, and he's priced up a little bit. But you've got Bregman with a pretty decent price. And then you've got some of those outfielders that really save you some money and help make everything work. Jake Myers and Chas McCormick, don't mind either of them. They're down in the order, but the price tags are super useful today. Aledmus Diaz cracked the lineup as well in the 5th hole, so that's very helpful. I think it's going to be a really popular build with Houston and 2 aces, but we've got 4 aces on the slate. So I still think that the overall ownership is not out of control, even on that exact type of a build.
All right. Go ahead.
I was just going to throw a couple more teams out there. Sure. They're a little lower owned. I like the Cardinals against Ashcraft, low strikeouts, struggles with right-handed power. Goldschmidt sets up really well against him. Tyler O'Neill, I really like against him. The Mariners against Glenn Otto, another team I have a lot of interest in. And the Rangers against Flexen would round out my top 5.
All right, Andre, what are you looking at for stacks today?
It was tough for me too on this side too because there's so many good stacks today. I think that have potential for the upside, but I really like Houston as my number 1 overall stack. I think they just present a lot of upside today, and they're cheaper. So a team like Houston, I'm going to be getting to a lot of today. But then I also do like Atlanta, obviously number 2. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of those guys. I think they both are great options to go with today, honestly. And then, I also do love getting to the game of the Seattle Texas game as a whole. Both sides of that game, I think, can go off and potentially could be like a really high scoring game. So I definitely don't mind taking shots at them, for sure. And I like St. Louis, obviously, as well. And the White Sox is another team I'm looking at today. And I'm not sleeping. I also want to say I'm not going to sleep on Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is a team that's in a really good position today to surprise some teams.
All right, and Carolina Guy had been asking in our Discord chat, if you are a premium subscriber, you can to RotoGrinders, you can get in our MLB Crunch Time chat. We'll prioritize your questions in there as we go along. And so had asked about favorite stacks. I do think Atlanta and Houston pretty clearly the top of the list. If I had to choose my favorite to be maybe a little contrarian in a single entry or something like that, I do kind of agree. I think Seattle or Texas are interesting options on that front. All right, Andre, I'll stick with you, and we will start rolling through the positions here. We've got about 20 minutes to lock. Who are you looking at catcher today?
Hold on. Gosh, why is my computer freezing? Okay, perfect. All right, catcher. My pool for catcher is pretty small. Like JT Realmuto, someone I have a little bit of interest in going against Rogers. Sean Murphy against Odorizzi, and Wilson Contreras against Peterson are like my top 3 guys, as well as William Contreras' brother playing in Atlanta against Ramirez, who's not going to be high on. Not really any catcher is going to be high on, so don't mind taking a shot at that. And if you are thinking about playing, if you like Matt, since you said it's Matt's first start back, we have how many pitches are you going to go? Probably like 75.
Yeah, I mean at the most. Let me look and see if I can see at Cardinal Twitter thing. I can see if I can find something concrete here.
Yeah, because if he's going about 75 pitchers, I don't mind even taking a guy like Tyler Stevenson, or and also Rutschman from Baltimore.
All right, Keith, who you like at catcher today?
Yeah, I like Realmuto a lot, but I'm probably trying to spend down at this position as much as I can today, just so I can get up to the premium pitching. Guys like Pat Mazika, I think, makes sense as a punt. If you've got a little extra money, I really like the Sean Murphy call. Odorizzi with reverse splits. Good matchup for Murphy there. Like, some of these names are ugly, but I really want to save some money here today. I did like and agree with Andre's call on Tampa Bay. I have some interest in some of their value bats today. Francisco Mejia at 3,100 on DK is a nice value bat. Keibert Ruiz at 3,600, even in a tough matchup against Strider. And Martin Maldonado as part of Houston stacks is fine. Like, they're not great options, but I just don't think it's where I want to spend the majority of my funds today.
Yeah, and obviously on FanDuel, you don't need to roster a catcher, so you do have maybe somebody like Cal Raleigh as a reasonable cheap play on FanDuel at 2,500, and maybe to differentiate your Seattle stacks a little bit. I don't hate it if you want to go to him as a punt, but not necessary to play one on FanDuel. All right, Keith, go ahead and move to first.
All right, Matt Olson is pretty clearly the top option here today for me. Love this Atlanta stack, as much of it as I can fit in. And he's going to be a primary bat for me. Paul Goldschmidt mentioned liking that St. Louis stack. I think he's a very viable spend today as well. Great matchup against Ashcraft. Can always pay Pete Alonso. Don't mind the Baltimore guys against Kluber. He has had some reverse splits here. Rhys Hoskins against a lefty, always in play. So this is a position I like to spend a little bit of money on. Olson and Goldschmidt are going to be my primary two for sure.
Definitely some good high-end options. All right, Steven Matz in his final rehab start, 4 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 7 Ks, no runs. And he did throw 81 pitches in his final rehab start. So possibly maybe they let him get to 85 to 90 today if things are going well, but it's still a bit of a stretch. They will obviously be careful with him. And they've got all their good bullpen arms available today, so they won't stretch him too much. I don't mind the Stevenson call at catcher, as Andre was talking about, if you want a little bit of a contrarian play. All right, Andre, what are you looking at first?
First base, pretty much the same guys. Matt Olson, Goldsmith would be the top of my list, but I do like guys like Rhys Hoskins, Jose Abreu as well. Like getting to these Seattle guys too. So Carlos Santana, Ty France, guys that don't mind having in my lineup today. If you're gonna go with a Yankee set going against Sale, DJ LeMahieu is a guy I would definitely try to target and make sure you get in there. He's hitting the ball really well, and a guy like Yuli Gurriel, who's first base eligible, who pretty much hits the ball pretty much into play almost all the time. Coming at 3% ownership on a site like FanDuel, I think it's a pretty good play.
All right. I think those are most of the options at first. Carlos Santana, I'll play in some of my Seattle stacks, but probably a spot where you're going to want to spend if you're just looking for one-off plays. So, Andre, I will stick with you, and we can move to second.
Second base. So, obviously, these are with a guy like Jose Altuve, who looked good, who looked pretty, didn't look too banged up or anything with his game back yesterday. So I don't mind that. Brandon Lowe, if you're going to go with Tampa Bay, stack is a good one. If Cincinnati as well. So Brandon Drury, Indias, these are good plays, I think, for Cincinnati today. Jeff McNeil going against Sampson, I think, is another good option today. And Diaz as well in Houston.
All right, Keith, what do you like at second?
Yeah, a lot of the same guys. Brandon Lau in particular, I really like him today. Still a little bit underpriced since he missed so much time. So definitely like his matchup here against Lyles. India's price tag on FanDuel is very nice. Nolan Gorman is a cheaper bat with some power that I like. I prefer righties against Ashcraft, but I don't know that the splits will be this drastic as Ashcraft moves through his career. I certainly think Gorman could get a hold of one today. Taylor Walls is a cheap option in the Tampa Bay lineup. Don't mind that. Gleyber Torres against Sale. I think you could hunt a home run there. That should about do it. Altuve obviously at the top if you got the money.
Greatness asked in the chat, with it being a bullpen game, do you think we will see righties or lefties in the bullpen for Washington? Well, the answer is righties, because the only lefty on their pitching staff is Patrick Corbin. They have no lefties in the bullpen. So you're going to see a parade of right-handed pitchers for Washington today, unless they make a move or made a move this morning that I didn't see. Their current active roster is entirely right-handed in the bullpen. So that should be what you see from Washington today. All right, Keith, let's go ahead and move to third base.
All right. Alex Bregman, really like him today against a weak pitcher from Oakland and a weak Oakland bullpen as well. Yohan Moncada is underpriced. Been a tough year for him, but we're looking to save some money today. That $2,500 price tag on Fanduel especially is very useful. Austin Reilly is a fantastic option. Aledmus Diaz, mentioned him in the Houston lineup. Another great way to save some salary today. I like Eugenio Suarez for a home run against Otto. Great matchup there. Arenado did make that St. Louis lineup. Yep, looks like it.
Yeah, he did. I was kind of surprised that they brought him back today, since he pulled out of the All-Star game with only one day left. Yeah. I figured they would give him the day, but he's in there.
Yep, so definitely a great option. I like him just as much as Goldschmidt. Definitely targeting the St. Louis righties. Jose Miranda is a cheap guy. Again, tough matchup against Cease, but a little bit of power there. Don't mind trying to find a cheap home run today.
While I'm with you here, Keith, Shannon in the YouTube chat is asking about whether or not we have any love for the Phillies. We've kind of touched on them as far as individual positions. Hoskins at first, Realmuto at catcher, but any interest in the Phillies as a stack? They have touched up Trevor Rogers pretty good this year.
Yeah, Rogers has definitely been down this season, so I don't mind it. I really like Hoskins a lot. Don't love the price tag on Realmuto, so I don't have a ton of him. He's carrying a little bit of ownership too. It's definitely a great spot for him though. They have some value bats in there like Bowman, Vierling. Munoz is in there. So yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely make it work. It kind of fits the type of build I'm doing today, where I want a stack that has one or two elite bats and then some guys that I can save some money with.
Yeah.
And Philly definitely fits that.
That's where you can get teams like Seattle, and the Cardinals fit that as well. And Houston makes it a little tougher on that Atlanta stack, as we touched on a little bit ago. So in case some of you are just joining us, definitely a day where you want to pay up at pitcher. Lots of good options. Cole, Strider, Nola, Cease, all high upside options today. Makes spending at pitcher and then trying to save with some of your bats pretty much a priority today. There's not a whole lot of cheap pitching. That makes a lot of sense. So, all right, we will stay with third base. And Andre, I will let you go through your favorites there.
Austin Reilly is one of my favorite third basemen today, again, as he was yesterday. I like Devers as well, so it's a nice little one-off going against Cole. Bregman, Arenado, who makes the lineup today. We mentioned Moncada, who was very cheap as well, who I like to get to. I didn't mention him before on my second base, but Josh Harrison, I think, for Chicago. I think he also is a good option today. Today against Archer. Archer's not good against righties at all. And obviously, Chicago White Sox has a whole bunch of righties, so I would just take a chance with them a little bit. Alec Baum today also is another good option too that I like to get to today as well.
All right, I will stick with you there, and we can move on to shortstop.
Lindor, Swanson are some of the guys I'm interested in, as well as Tim Anderson. I know Josh Smith is not going to be popular, but I think he's in a good position in that Texas-Seattle game against Flexen. And we mentioned Diaz as well. He's a good option. And Pena, another guy that I have interest in.
Yeah, two Houston guys there. That makes some sense with the build on FanDuel. And Diaz, you've got the flexibility to kind of play around the infield diamond at several different positions. And I'm with you. I like Josh Smith as well, leading off for Texas in that potential high-scoring game against Seattle today. Keith, your thoughts at shortstop?
Yeah, a lot of the same stuff again. Swanson, my favorite spend-up option. Pena is in a great spot as well. Diaz to save some money. Josh Smith to save some money. JP Crawford, just another name to throw out there. We like Seattle a good amount. He's down to the 6 hole, but still like his matchup a good amount against Otto. Walls has shortstop eligibility as well. Donovan, a cheap option for St. Louis, you can work in there.
All right. I will stick with you, Keith, and we can go to outfield, and then we'll see what we got for questions.
All right. Kyle Tucker is probably my favorite bat on the entire slate today. Improved lineup spot with a couple injuries there to Alvarez and Brantley, hitting in the 3 hole. Fantastic matchup. Ronald Acuna is right there with him as a fantastic upside option. Julio Rodriguez leading off for Seattle has just been incredible here recently. Those are the 3 priorities. And like I said, I'm really only trying to use 1 or 2 of these guys so I can spend up at pitching. So then I'd be looking to save some money from there. And there are plenty of options to do that with. Tyler O'Neill for the Cardinals is one of my favorite. I like Dylan Carlson as well.
Let me stop you there. Greatness did mention in the Discord chat, and it does seem to be confirmed that the Cardinals game is done with weather postponed. So get all your Cardinals and Reds out.
Okay.
That game didn't lock until 2:15, so you got some time.
Pain. I'm just running.
I was not expecting that one.
I
know there was some risk, but
I think Roth had it at yellow-orange.
Earlier, you did update it to orange-yellow now.
And
about an hour ago, it looks like.
Officially got the axe, so that's been tweeted by some reputable sources and a couple Cardinals beat writers. So
that stinks.
Anyway, really scratch those guys.
Yep. Disregard. So I think that shifts a lot of ownership to these Houston guys that I mentioned, McCormick and Myers. Certainly great options. Going to pick up quite a bit of ownership now. Eddie Rosario is really cheap. Adam Duvall, 2 Braves options that maybe help you get the full stack in there. Let's see here. A couple more value guys I'm looking at. Piscotty is minimum price against Odorizzi, who struggles with right-handed power, so I don't mind him as a punt. Leody Taveras for Texas. Don't mind him in a stack. I think that about does it.
All right, Andre, go ahead and move along with your favorite outfielders today.
I mentioned Kyle Tucker is my number 1 guy today. I like him a lot. Julio Rodriguez, someone else I'm going to go with. I don't mind taking a 1-off in Juan Soto against Strider. Aaron Judge, I think, is also in a good spot. It's a good spot against Sale today. Jesse Winker, Sterling Marte, Cedric Mullins, if you're running him like a Baltimore stack. Adam Duvall, who I like to hit a home run. Max Kepler, Kyle Schwarber. Let's go with some of these cheap guys like Alec Kirilloff is someone I don't mind taking a shot at too today. Brett Phillips against Lyles is another good option, and Gavin Sheets against Archers, and there's someone else I have some interest in too today.
All right, I will look at the Discord chat for some questions here. Keith, how does this news affect your lineups in general here?
I've got a lot of moving around to do. I like St. Louis a ton today, so I'm probably just pivoting more of it to Houston, who's another team that I love. Tampa Bay is getting some more exposure for me. Just trying to shift it around wherever I can. Houston, Tampa Bay are the main 2 that I've kind of landed on right now.
Yeah, I think Seattle. I'm navigating a few changes here myself, but. All right, yeah, guys want to start the All-Star break early, don't want to hang around. BHB, DK Cash question. Andre, I'll give this one to you. Reilly and Phillips or Machine and Tucker? That'd be a couple value plays in there.
I'm going to say Reilly Phillips.
All right, DK GPP, Keith, Duvall Diaz or Tucker and Jackie Bradley?
The first one.
All right. Andre, DK GPP, better stack Atlanta or Texas?
The GPP, it's nothing's going to be better than Atlanta, and it's stack wise, but I don't mind taking some shots with Texas.
All right, I will go ahead and pivot to the YouTube chat now. Bunch of questions. Yes, the St. Louis game has officially been postponed. I'm attempting to navigate some pitching changes and some offense changes in a couple of my lineups here right before we hit lock. But all right, any other questions in the YouTube? I don't see any other chances or any other questions there. Andre, what's changed for you with this game getting postponed? Who are you getting more exposure to now offensively?
Well, I'm only running 3 lineups today, so I'm trying to. I was trying to make sure I got a little bit different. I mean, I'm still getting some Tampa Bay guys, so that's fine with me. I'm gonna have yeah, it's gonna be probably a lot of Tampa Bay. Minnesota's coming up for me a lot more now, which I was fine with a little bit. But I might try to switch out to them. But they're definitely gonna be a lot more heavier in Tampa Bay and take advantage of that type of situation if I can.
All right, no further questions in the Discord chat. We're down to about 2 minutes to lock. Let's see, Strider, Cease. If you're all right, this is a good one. JMVP. DK single entry. Is it crazy to play Peterson at SP2 to get a full Seattle stack? Keith, where you stand on Peterson on DK?
So I said I was sickening in the top tier. I think if you are going down to go cheap and spend up on bats, that Peterson is the guy to do it with. He's my favorite in that kind of mid tier. I don't know if all 4 of these guys put up a game that you don't need, though. Like, I think the chances of 2 of the 4 of them hitting 9 or 10 strikeouts is pretty good today. So now you need to ask yourself if Peterson can. He obviously doesn't need to match him, but he needs to be in that same realm. So you need 7 or 8 strikeouts from Peterson. It's possible, yes. I do like his over on 5.5 strikeouts, but I just have concerns on whether he can get me 8 strikeouts is really the thing. I tried to avoid it as much as I can. In 20 lineups, I probably have one or 2 Peterson.
It is the Cubs at least, so.
Yeah.
All right, Andre, Winker or Sheets in FanDuel Cash?
Winker.
All right. Caught up on the questions in the YouTube. Yeezy giving us a shout out in the YouTube chat. Always appreciate you watching us as well. Let's see. Alan S. had asked earlier in the YouTube chat, Nola or Cease on DK. Keith, you got a preference between Nola and Cease?
What did he say format?
GPP on DraftKings.
Yeah, Nola clearly for cash. GPP, I think it's a toss up. I just can't separate these 4 guys today, really. Nola certainly for the matchup probably gives him a little bit more upside, but Cease has a little bit better strikeout rate too. So it's really a toss up. If I had to choose one, I'd go Nola.
All right. That was a struggle. We're at lock. I had to try to navigate changes with guys that were locking in at 135 and make sure I moved my Cardinals out of there. I have no idea what my lineups look like right now, other than I don't have any postponed players in there. Couldn't get the DraftKings desktop version to load. And this is the last day before the MLB All-Star break, and just kind of got a little glimpse of NBA there. We're still like 4 months away from NBA. We've got football before that, but that felt like an NBA lock. But at least kudos to the Cardinals for calling the game before everybody's players were already locked in there. And maybe they just wanted to get an early head start on the All-Star break. So I can respect that. Plus, I'm a Cardinal fan, so I can't give them too much crap. All right, Andre, any other thoughts before we call it a day?
No, I would say be a little bit more heavier probably on Chicago. The White Sox, I think they're in a really, really good matchup against Archer. Doesn't strike out anyone well, walks a lot, has a walk rate of 10 or plus on both sides of the plate. Gives up a lot of fly balls and ground balls too. So, yeah, that's my take and my advice to everybody.
All right, Keith, anything else before we get out of here?
Texas is another team I found myself kind of pivoting that St. Louis exposure to. So, yeah, I had a pretty good feel of the slate. I felt like St. Louis is in a great spot. So that late news there drastically altered how I'm playing this one. Still spending up for all the pitching, but just kind of changed my exposure on my bats a little bit. Hopefully it'll work out.
Sure. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and get out of here, and hope you all enjoy the All-Star break as well. And we'll be back Thursday, I believe, the second half begins. So just a few days off. Enjoy the break, everybody. And we'll be back tomorrow. It's golf. We got golf this week. So why not watch the golf show tomorrow? It'll be Notorious and I breaking down next week's golf tournament. And, you can do that while you follow the home run derby on the side. So hopefully we'll catch you for golf tomorrow. If not, we'll see you for the second half of the season. And enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. For Keith, for Andre, I'm Justin. Thanks to Devin for producing behind the scenes for us as well. And have a great Sunday, everybody.